Good morning, everyone. We're going to give it just a couple of seconds to have people populate and be able to join us, and then we'll jump right in with our program this morning on Don't Pollute, Switch Up Your Commute in the St. Louis region. Okay. Good morning. On behalf of Citizens for Modern Transit, I'd like to welcome you to the region's Race to Cleaner Air virtual employer event. We're excited to have you join us as we discuss the region's air quality, how it's impacted by transportation choices, the rollout of the Don't Pollute, Switch Up Your Commute campaign, and how your business or organization can really get involved. Thank you to all of you who have joined us today, as well as our partners with this initiative, which include the St. Louis Regional Clean Air Partnership, Commute with Enterprise, Metro Transit, Madison County Transit, the St. Clair County Transit District, Ride Finders, and the Missouri Department of Transportation. We've collectively been working together for the last several months on the Don't Pollute, Switch Up Your Commute campaign, which rolled out last Monday in conjunction with the start of the Clean Air Partnership's daily air quality forecasting season. The effort this year is two-pronged. It starts with education and then it moves to action. Our panel today will include Susanna Fuchs, the Director of Clean Air for the American Lung Association in Missouri, who's going to provide us with an update on the state of the air and the importance of the daily air quality forecasting. Amanda Showmaker, the Director of Marketing and Communications for Madison County Transit. She also oversees the Ride Finders program, and she's going to speak to many transportation modes in the region, including carpooling and transit options in Madison County. We have with us Jessica Gershman, the Assistant Director of Planning for Metro Transit. She will highlight the region's robust public transit system and the available programming around that option. And then myself, Kim Sellett, I'm the Executive Director of Citizens for Modern Transit, and I'm going to give really a brief overview of this effort that's currently underway. We will circle back and highlight how you and your company can partner on this campaign, and we'll give you a chance for questions. If you have any questions, we ask that you put those in the chat box or in the Q&A, and we will get to those as quickly as possible. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Susanna Fuchs, who's going to give us an overview of the region's air quality and explain to us what daily air quality forecasting is so that we're all on the same page. Welcome, Susanna.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm with the American Lung Association, and this larger partnership has worked together to make this effort because air pollution is such a big problem in the metro area. We have historically had high ozone levels, and ozone is a lung irritant. The American Lung Association puts out a report every year, you may have heard of it, the State of the Air, that looks at our air pollution levels across every county in the United States. But when we're talking about our metro area, you may be familiar with the fact that we get a failing grade pretty much every year for our air pollution levels. And that is really hard on our lungs. And it's hard on everybody's lungs, really. Children, the elderly, anyone with lung disease, anybody who works outdoors, the list goes on. And a long time ago, all of us as partners got together and realized that we needed to have an air quality forecast. Our media partner, KMOV, and the meteorologists there work tirelessly every day to take a lot of different factors, put them together, and forecast what the next day's air pollution levels will be. The idea with that is that you may make a change in your daily commute patterns and other behavior choices so that we're not as affected by the air pollution levels. So the bottom line really is that air pollution is bad for our health, and our transportation choices can make a difference in the air pollution levels in our metro area. So that's where this campaign comes from. If we can all make a change, a big change, a little change, any kind of change in our commute choices, it will make a difference in our air pollution levels, and that will help everybody's health. I think that covers it, Kim, the basics.
It does, definitely covers the basics. Thank you,
right.
Susanna, for that quick update on what the daily air quality forecast means. And I believe as we sit here today on this webinar, Today is a yes already. So this week alone may set us up to see some less than favorable air quality conditions as we hit these 95-degree marks in May in St. Louis. So thank you for that baseline information. So just to combat the issues that Susanna underscores, we are encouraging people to pay attention to this daily air quality forecast and really think about modifying your behavior on poor air quality days. With that, that's where this Switch Up Your Commute campaign has come from, and it can help you do just that. So just a couple of items with regards to the Switch Up Your Commute campaign before I turn it over to Amanda. The whole purpose of this campaign is not only to educate the St. Louis workforce and the community at large about the impacts of your daily work commute on the air quality, it's also to help you take action. So we're going to reinforce that there are better choices for the work commute than driving alone, like taking Metrolink, taking Metro Bus, Madison County Transit, carpooling, vanpooling, biking, walking, or even telecommuting. This isn't only important for the air quality, but think about it for your own personal bottom line. I think yesterday I saw gas prices at some stations in the St. Louis region were already up over $4 a gallon. This can also impact you financially, and these choices are a great option for that as well. You're going to see the savings if you consider switching up your commute even one day a week. Part of the program is to get everyone to sign up for that daily air quality forecast. It's really important that we know what's going on so that we can make those switch choices and we can change our behavior. And you can register for those daily air quality forecasts on the switchupyourcommute.com website very easily. And if you're one of the first 200s, you're going to get this really cool t-shirt from STL Style that you can wear all summer long that really promotes what we're doing here and also is really a great and comfortable t-shirt. So while we ask you to switch up your commute when the forecast calls for poor air quality, we're also asking you to consider it other days as well and just get into the groove of using some of these other transportation choices. Also, during red and orange air quality days, once you register for the air quality forecast, we're going to ask you to take action. So we're going to ask you to let us know what alternative choice you chose that day, if it's a red or an orange air quality day. When you let us know, we're going to enter you into a drawing for additional prizes. So you're going to be able to reap the rewards all summer long from the Switch Up Your Commute campaign. So we're trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it interesting. And now we're going to talk a little bit about, as employers and organizations, what you can do at your work sites to incentivize individuals to get involved and switch up their commute and really consider making a change. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what the website has and the transportation options that fall under Madison County Ride Finders. Amanda?
Thanks so much, Kim, and good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and it's been so great having this team effort of all folks on both sides of the river involved in this Switch Up Your Commute campaign. Just a brief overview. So as many of you know, Madison County Transit provides fixed route bus service. We also build and maintain the bike trail system over here, over 135 miles of interconnected Class 1 bikeways. And we also operate the Ride Finder St. Louis Regional Commuter Rideshare Program. The MCT bus service in Madison County is just $1 per ride with service between communities. A lot of great options for those who work and live locally, but also we have the MCT Express bus routes that transport passengers to and from the heart of downtown St. Louis throughout the morning and afternoon, utilizing 10 park and ride locations throughout Madison County. Those express trips are $3 and $5 for a day pass. Also, those passes can be purchased on your phone. Another part of Madison County Transit is the Ride Finders program. So this is, the mission of Ride Finders is to reduce single occupancy vehicles on the road to meet federal air quality standards. And this was actually formed in 1994. We serve 9 counties in and around the St. Louis region, and we facilitate van pools and carpools. For the Both the express riders on our bus system as well as the Ride Finders commuters receive the guaranteed ride home option too. So it kind of helps folks get over the fear of maybe having to work late. They're able to catch a ride home on us up to $125 per ride 4 times a year, which is often very good. The carpool program is pretty simple. It's self-directed. So folks can form their own carpool, and we help with ride matching. If you go to ridefinders.org, you can put in your start address, your end address, and it should populate folks that are also interested in sharing the ride. The carpoolers individually decide how they want to arrange that. So if they want to switch up driving or if they want to split the cost of gas, that's up to them. The van pool program is a little different. So the van pool program, you need at least 5 folks to get started. We give you the van, we pay for gas, maintenance, and insurance as well. And the riders pay a low monthly fare. Everybody involved in these programs also get that guaranteed ride home benefit. So it's been really great, especially with gas prices too. It's helped a lot of folks save on that. Part of the Ride Finders marketing outreach efforts, especially for employers, we're able to go on site and promote the program internally. Oftentimes we'll team up with the HR department, work with staffing agencies, and team up with the onboarding process to provide Ride Finders as a benefit that you as an employer can provide to potential employees. Whether you're looking to reach folks from a larger, diverse geographical area, a lot of folks hesitate to get in their car and drive an hour to work. But if they have the option of sharing a ride or participating in a van pool, it makes it a whole lot more attractive. And these days also, we're finding a lot of employers are interested in partially subsidizing or subsidizing that van as a benefit for their employees, to retain employees as well as have punctual attendance. So we've also heard about that, preferred parking, and a lot of other benefits that employers can give to promote ride sharing within their companies. And that's my overview.
Thank you, Amanda. As a quick reminder to those who are attending the webinar today, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A, and I'll just jump in and get to those, especially if you have questions about what Amanda just talked about, the Ride Finders program, how you get it started, what incentives that we could also help you with in order to see that number creep up at your work site. We know as employers and organizations, you're not only dealing with what is happening at your work site with regards to your employers throughout the day, but how they get there. You're also dealing with potentially parking expenses, maintenance of parking garages or parking lots. If we can help you reduce the number of individuals who have to park every day at your work site, we know that there's benefits there. We have organizations like Washington University and BJC Healthcare who are very limited in the amount of land space they have. And so being able to free up space that isn't necessary for a parking garage is really an opportunity and a great way to go. So now let's hear from Jessica this morning a little bit about Metro Transit. Jessica, if you could give us a little bit about what programs Metro Transit has available for employers in the St. Louis market, what we're looking at there, subsidy programs, other things like that, I think that would be really helpful. And again, if there's any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So to just sort of echo some of the other benefits of programs, we, like many other transit agencies across the country, do try to help those that basically are serving like a large group of people, like an employer, with some pre-tax benefits. So we have a program called Metro's Commuter Advantage program, and it allows an employer to offer pre-tax and get the passes in directly in their employees' hands as opposed to the employees doing it one-off. And it gives that large scale benefits like Amanda and Kim have been referring to, where you see improvements in employee retention, you see on time, you see absenteeism reduce. And so it's just a way of kind of creating more consistent workforce. In addition, it's a nicer and less stressful way to commute in a lot of ways. But Metro serves the city of St. Louis County in Missouri, and St. Clair County, Illinois. We operate buses in that part of the region. And so we have, I think 61 bus routes currently, and of course the 2 Metrolink lines. So there's, a good chance that where your employer is located, you have some access to, one of the Metro services. In addition, we have some pilot programs in the alternative mobility space with VIA, which is a microtransit provider, and we are operating in a number of places in St. Louis County today, including Southwest, so like the greater Fenton area, South County, and the West County corridor along I-64, where there are a lot of employers. And so, all of those destinations accept Metro passes. So that pass that you would get for your employees would be, you'd be eligible for bus, for train, or for this VIA microtransit, which is basically a minivan that's wrapped and sort of goes point to point and is dynamically routed. So that pass is, usable across all of our modes, which is great. And we do see a lot of employers reaching out and saying, look, I'm having some trouble with recruitment. I don't know if maybe some people might be facing that here on this webinar this morning. We're hearing that people are interested in taking a job with us. I've got, Metro is also dealing with a shortage of critical employees. So we feel that pain. So we hear from employers, it would be great if we could hook them up to transit, because we're maybe dealing with a potential employee that's a 0 vehicle household, which is great, but they need a way to get to work. So that's a sort of an outreach language that we've been hearing recently through the pandemic from employers. And so this is a great way of introducing your workforce base to a new way to get around. One last thing I'd say, Kim, is that we are currently still kind of in an extended pilot of our mobile ticketing, which of course Madison County has as well. We use a different provider, but we will hopefully in the next couple of years be making that a more permanent program. You can, for people that have access to a smartphone, you can get a pass, or you can get reduced fare tickets, all sorts of things that are available through your mobile app. And so while we don't have employer passes sort of simplified through that program yet, it's a nice tool to push to your employees today until we have that full robust program set up. So that's something that we're hearing from employers as well, is like, look, it would be great if you had something electronic that we could push out to all of our employees. So stay tuned, that is definitely coming for Metro Transit. But overall, I mean, what we're trying to do is make our service more accessible and more sort of ingrained in people's thinking as they're evaluating their choices each morning. To Susanna's point at the top, if you're looking at the air quality that day and you have choices, it's better to have them in front of you, and we're definitely one of them.
So Jessica, quick question for you, since we have some employers on the webinar today. What does it look like if an employer offers a subsidy, whether it's partial subsidy or full subsidy for the transit passes and the electronic ticketing? How does that work for an employer?
So generally for the traditional paper passes, we the employer will work with our marketing department and set up the sort of, we have them bulked in different amounts. So depending on the size of employer, you might have a different price, but they're all pre-tax. I think we have about 120 employers in the program today. So it represents thousands of people that have the access to this pass. And so there is this more kind of old school way where we're using paper passes and we send them out, they're distributed that way. And the employer handles the distribution amongst their employees. I mean, so for WashU or any of our educational institutions, a lot of them will integrate it into, other sort of passes and materials that they're distributing to their students, their staff, and their faculty. But so the electronic pass, which I mentioned as like a coming soon, as we wish we already had it, will be more straightforward. But currently you just download our transit app, which is our agency's trip planner, and you're able to purchase mobile tickets through it. So you can purchase a monthly pass, a daily pass, which is currently at a promotional rate of $5. So $5 for all your trips for the day. and a number of other more single ride tickets and reduced fare as well for people that are eligible. So that the onus for the electronic tickets currently is on the employee rather than the employer.
Okay.
But I think there's probably a lot of ways that we could work with the employer to promote that option, because it is so simple. Once you get the thing downloaded and you've done it once, it's, you see the train coming in and you can tap and buy one, basically as you're boarding, and, you activate it as you're walking on. So it's very straightforward and, easy to kind of make that communication chain via the employer.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jessica.
Sure.
And I did want to mention there are several programs through Citizens for Modern Transit that potentially can help employers incentivize their employees to kind of get over that hump and give transit a try. We have the Guaranteed Ride Home program, which Amanda has referenced with regards to Madison County Transit and Ride Finders, but we also have it available for anyone who uses the Metro transit system in Missouri or Illinois, or bike or walks to work. The Guaranteed Ride Home program is subsidized cab rides or rental cars home, or ride sharing vehicles, depending on which way you want to choose in case of an emergency. That's if you get sick, your child gets sick, or you have unexpected, unscheduled overtime, or you may miss a bus or train. And we have seen, over the last couple of months, we have had a couple of employees who are using public transit who have potentially had a no-show on a bus. They were able to use the Guaranteed Ride Home as well there as that little extra security blanket. But I think the other program that's much more interesting that we have seen some really successful incentivizing of individuals to use public transit is the Try and Ride program. And that program is really targeted at individuals who have never given transit a try for the work commute. It is a 2-month program. It's a 2-month commitment, but we cover the cost of the fares for the first month for anyone who wants to give transit a try. They'll get a personalized route from their home to work. They'll receive these free transit fare, and we'll help them figure out how to go about using transit for that work commute. If they participate in the program, they have to participate for 2 months. We also have the opportunity to survey them at the end of the first month and at the end of the second month to see how they're doing, what worked, what didn't work for them. But what we found is that Try and Ride program really provides that little extra incentive to get people to stick with public transit. 72% of the respondents say that they're staying with public transit for the work commute 3+ days a week. And we've had more than 6,000 individuals go through that program already. So if you're an organization or a business, let us know if you're interested in that program. We can share the links with you. We also have hard copy brochures if you're interested, but we know most of it is online right now, and people can go to our website at any time and register for the Try and Ride program. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat box. I do have our first question. This is directed to Susanna. With regards to this race for cleaner air, Susanna, can you tell us why this year, 2022, is so important for employers and residents of St. Louis to get on board?
I think that the reason this year is so important is we have seen with our State of the Air report, that's the annual report the American Lung Association puts out, grading the air pollution levels across the whole country. And specifically from our metro area, we see that we have bad grades. And that means that the air pollution levels have been bad for the 3 years that report covers. And the bottom line of that is that air pollution is bad for your health, and breathing polluted air is no good. And it's not just bad today, it's a big picture bad. Like, it's going to have an effect on you, on your children, on your elderly family members, on everybody. And so the reason it's really important for us all to consider a different way to commute, to try to not be in our single occupancy vehicles quite so much, is that it affects our air quality, and that affects every single one of us.
Thank you. Thank you. So, we're hearing a lot at Citizens for Modern Transit from people talking about the fact that post-pandemic, as we head out of this pandemic, lots of people are not returning to that regular work week, 5 days a week, 9 to 5. Some people are going to be working out of their house for the foreseeable future. Others have split hours where they're half time in the office and half time at home. We found that telecommuting is working for a large portion of the population. So they say to me, Well, Kim, what does that do to public transit? That must be devastating to ridership. And we would argue that potentially there is a new market for public transit out there. Individuals who may never have used public transit before, but are now able to work from home 4 days a week, and maybe they only have to go in 1 or 2 days a week. So maybe their household has an opportunity to reduce the number of vehicles they own overall to 1 or 2 vehicles versus 3 or 4. And this way they can utilize some of these other great options that we have in the St. Louis market. So I think as employers, there may be a lot of employees at your work sites who may not be coming in 5 days a week, but still have an opportunity to consider using one of these options, which may alleviate the need for having so many vehicles in their personal households. Just something to think about, because we're hearing that a lot now. Well, half our workforce isn't coming back to work. Well, that's fantastic if it's working for your workforce and saving you, but you can also mention to your employees that they could save money as well by potentially considering reducing the number of vehicles that they own and trying some of these other options. And what a great way to do that than to give it a try this summer on orange and red air quality days. So Jessica and Amanda, can you tell us a little bit more about if an employer wants to get involved, what they should do? How should they go about contacting ride finders or Metro Transit? What are the next steps, and what does that timeline look like for engagement?
Sure, I'll go first. So again, I mentioned that Denise Williams is our director in marketing, who is in charge of the main employer programs and the UPass program, again with our educational institutions. And so that's the best place to start, working through that group to kind of get familiar with the program, get the details of what you as an employer are looking for, and sort of get underway. And it's sort of on a rolling basis. There's not a deadline for signing up. It's as we receive interest. And Kim, to your point about changing commuting patterns, I think it's worth offering another trend we're seeing in terms of the outreach we've got is sort of industrial employers. The change in the economy is reflecting, and I know in Madison County side, they have some great buses that are targeted for employers that are looking for this specific option. But we are seeing a new user. Perhaps they used to work in retail and they worked somewhere along a more familiar corridor, and now they're heading out to sort of Northwest St. Louis County. And it's new to them and they're looking for options. So I think you're right. It might be different, but it's shifted and it's growing in other spaces. So I would say the best place to start is, visiting our website, of course, and we can make available our marketing team's contact information to get started.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Amanda?
So for us, you can call, email, or visit our website. So Ride Finders, our main line here is 314-621-7433. Ridefinders.org is our website. So also when you're talking about kind of hybrid commutes, an interesting thing that we've seen as well, for van pools, you don't have to be all in 100% of the time. We have part-time riding options. So we've got a lot of folks that come and use it 2 days a week or 3 days a week, or the roster in the van could be running to the same workplace every day, but be carrying different passengers as long as that roster is consistent on those days. As far as getting started, so we have a lot of different ways that we engage with employers and employees, depending upon what industry, like Jessica was saying. A lot of we are physically located among a ton of warehouses and packaging plants. So a lot of those employers, many of the employees, for example, don't have company email addresses. So email marketing isn't the best route for them. But what we do find is a way to start engaging is we'll do a short employee survey, employee transportation, how you get to work survey, 10 questions, make a little QR code, and they can put it up around the break rooms. And that gives an overall snapshot of how employees are getting to work. If they're using public transit, if they are using a combination, if they're if they don't have consistent transportation, and would they be interested in trying transit or shared rides or, you know, whatever options? And also, what are their shift times? There's a lot of, you know, we want to create a solution that works, whether it's a combination of transit, public transit, metro. You can have a bus or a van meet at a metro station. We've got that a lot, park and ride lots. So there's a easy combination of using all of our services to get to work, no matter what time you work. So we find an employee survey. We'll do that often in the beginning after we meet with some of the leadership or HR folks to try and, you know, gauge what the goals are and what the best way to roll out the message of the program is and the information. So a survey will usually start with that, kind of gather all that data, present that back, and then see if there's a huge interest in carpooling, for example, versus van pooling. We'll kind of push that a little bit more when we go on site. We'll set up in break rooms. We can do lunch and learns, all sorts of educational outreach activities with the employees themselves, and get folks signing up as commuters to share what their routes are and then what the best solution is for them. We also talk about parking benefits, like Kim mentioned. We have a van pool that's been running to WashU Med School from Illinois for 20 years. And they were featured in their sustainability newsletter about a year ago. And it's the greatest story, same two original folks in there, but there's just some amazing you know, stories. A girl was able to get her nursing degree just in the commute time that she was able to sit in the van and study 2 hours a day. So, you know, there's just some great benefits for your employees and workers and workforce in general that go even further beyond air quality, you know, quality of life, time, camaraderie, and, you know, saving money too. So yeah, call us up, email we'll get started right away and figure out what the best option is, whether it's a combo of ride sharing and transit or one or the other. We individualize it to make it work for your employees.
Thanks, Amanda. And someone on our webinar just shared that success story, the inspiring commuter story, in the chat box if you have a moment after this to check it out. Thank you for the link. So before we wrap up today, there are no more questions in the chat box, but I do have a final question for all three of you. What is your key takeaway from each of you to our audience today on what you believe could be the biggest impacts of your services that you are working on for this region and air quality? Susanna, would you like to go first?
Thank you for asking that. That's a good question. For me and the work of the American Lung Association and the Clean Air Partnership, specifically, I would say thinking about the impact of your commuter decisions, your transportation decisions can make a difference for our health individually and as a region. So making this first step to think about those commuting decisions is key.
Amanda?
Sure. So I think it'll be somewhat similar between all of us, reducing, you know, traffic congestion, improving air quality, helping members of our community with smart commute options through transit and ride sharing. So whatever we can do to kind of get that message out there, kind of boots on the ground, usually in person works the best for us to relay that and get folks interested in trying it and making a lifestyle change too.
Great. Jessica?
Yeah, I'd echo that, Amanda. Lifestyle change. I mean, when you think about what everybody's learning and the reality of our environmental conditions, and people are sort of thinking, well, what can I change? You know, how can I move the needle? This is a choice that's in front of you that, I mean, I have young kids. I understand that sometimes, you know, wherever they've got to be isn't always accessible in a region like ours with the transit that's available, but a lot of times it is. And so making that choice 1, 2, 3, 4 days a week for your personal travel is something you can do. It's the same as, you know, the composting box at home. It's not air quality, of course, but it's, you know, those changes that you can make to your lifestyle that that are available and that are really truly feasible. I mean, we've got a robust network and we've got easy ways of kind of getting on board with us. So I would hope people might view it in that way as sort of a way of doing your part, and to Susanna's earliest point, just sort of protecting you and your family's long-term health. It does make a difference.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for your time today and all this really valuable information. I think what we've heard today is the importance of choice. And in the St. Louis region, people have some really great choices to switch up their commute, and action. Maybe choosing that action to modify behavior 1 or 2 days a week. We do have an ask for employers and organizations to take some action today as a result of this webinar. We simply need your help in promoting the word about these choices to your employees. So following the webinar today, we ask that employers and organizations go to switchupyourcommute.com and scroll down to the bottom. You'll see a click here to download the employer toolkit, which will take you to numerous resources that make this communication really easy internally at your work sites. The toolkit includes posters, the campaign logo, green, yellow, orange, red day flyers, a newsletter article, e-blast content, and so much more. We are trying to make this as simple as possible for you as contacts at your employee work sites to help spread the word and educate in order to move people to action. So per the letter we sent you via email, we're hoping you'll also commit to making your company an official partner to our team for this race to cleaner air. That could be done by noting your company's name in the chat box today while we're on this webinar, or like the Hauser Group, they'll be shooting me an email afterwards that says, hey, we want to be a part of the race to cleaner air. And so the Hauser Group will now be listed as one of our corporate partners as in this team to race to cleaner air. So thank you to all of our panelists for joining us today. And thank you for everyone who has joined us this morning for this really important conversation. We will post this video to our social media channels later this morning for anyone interested in rewatching it or sharing it with other peers or colleagues. And please, again, consider signing up for the daily air quality forecasts at switchupyourcommute.com. Please also follow us all on social media. There will be opportunities throughout the summer to win additional prizes and reap more benefits, but also to really be a part of the St. Louis team for this race for cleaner air. We need your help, and we hope that you'll consider joining us today. So everyone, make it a great day. Have a good one. Thank you again for your time.